While you may think that the activities in your life are relatively harmless, Pascal believed that they are distractions from our own innate wretchedness as humans. Now, if that sounds too intense of a claim to agree with, just substitute the word wretchedness for mortality in this video, and that will suffice to get Pascal's general point across. He says, being unable to cure death, wretchedness, and ignorance, men have decided in order to be happy, not to think about such things. In other words, Pascal thought the human condition was rather bleak, and what made it even worse was the fact that we won't accept that it's bleak. But I believe that with the help of Pascal, we can see distraction for what it truly is, and in doing so, we can begin to root it out of our lives. This obviously begs the valid question, why should I root distraction out of my life? Or why would I want to do so? In answering this, I would simply refer to Pascal, who said that unless we actually wrestle with our innate wretchedness as humans, we can never truly be happy, only temporarily distracted. To get a better understanding for how futile Pascal actually thought distractions are, we need to read one of his most grotesque passages in the Pensées. He writes, "Imagine a number of men in chains, all under sentence of death, some of whom are each day butchered in the sight of others. Those remaining see their own condition in that of their fellows, and looking at each other with grief and despair, await their turn. This is an image of the human condition." In other words, we watch and hear about people who die every single day. We watch cancer take our loved ones, we see car accidents take our friends, we hear about wars that take hundreds or thousands of lives across the globe, and if we confront reality for what it is, we realize that we are doomed to the same end. However, instead of being driven to despair by these harsh truths, Pascal points out that humans foolishly seek out aversions in order to keep from thinking about their inevitable mortality. We start new hobbies, we renovate homes, we get new jobs, we play board games, we start drinking or pick up gambling. And in today's day and age, this problem is even more prevalent because we have endless and effortless distraction at the tips of our fingers all of the time. But Pascal claims that if we can see distraction for what it truly is, it's akin to putting a blindfold over our eyes as we sprint towards the edge of an abyss. Now, I know these metaphors can sound extremely dark, but what Pascal is trying to do is paint these vivid pictures of just how idiotic humanity can act. We are all obviously going to die one day. Today could literally be our last day on earth. Yet we live as if nothing could be farther from the truth. Distraction cannot keep you from your death. All aversion is finite and will come to an end. And this is why Pascal claims that we prefer the hunt to the kill, because as soon as we kill the animal, the distraction of the hunt's over and we're forced to face ourselves again. However, what if we didn't have to feed into this perpetuating cycle of nonsense? What if there is something out there infinite and all-satisfying? What if we saw distraction as something to be conquered instead of something to be sought out? There is extreme power in silence. At first, it may feel overwhelming and unbearable as we're forced to authentically look at the wretched condition that we're actually in. But when we decide to face reality instead of run from it, there is a comfort that comes from knowing that we are finally seeking out what is true and not what is comfortable. In silence, we realize that Pascal was right. Without distractions, we're bored. But boredom forces us to search for a firmer way out. So do you want a firmer way out? Are you tired of leaping from one fleeting pleasure to another? Do you feel exhausted from constantly trying to occupy yourself with activities, only to find yourself an anxious wreck when you finally stop and are forced to sit alone with your thoughts? Do thoughts about death or God or suffering terrify you? If so, I want to encourage you. There is a firmer way out. Jesus Christ said, "Come to me, all who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls." And if you think this is just more Christian nonsense, please, I would just encourage you to ask, what kind of authority would a man have to speak those words I just read? What if he was telling the truth? If so, this could change your entire life. So congratulations if you made it to the end of this video. In our next video, we're going to be discussing Pascal's epistemology, which is fascinating in many ways. But until then, I hope you know that I love you, I'm praying for you, and I hope to see you on the road back home. Bye, guys.